What happens when you mix Dance Dance Revolution with Hollow Knight? Well, you get the mod Stubborn Knight, where you can only attack in one direction at a time, determined by the knight. My goal is to see if I can beat the game with this restriction, but before I can reach the ending, I'll have to hunt down 5 specific bosses, and I'll only have a set amount of lives, both determined at random. Die too many times, and the challenge is over. Can I beat the game to justify the 177 hours I have in Hollow Knight, or will I succumb to the demands and be too ashamed to touch this game ever again? Well, we begin at the start. Would you look at that? There's something a little different about the knight. He's got these arrows above his head, and I'm sure you already know by the title, but yeah, I can only attack in the direction it points. So if I try to down pogo this structure, it won't allow me. Try to hit left or up, I must hit right. These restrictions don't only apply to nail swings, they also affect spells and nail arts, which means all of my attacks are at the mercy of the arrows. Not only that, but another huge change that I realized early on is the fact that we can't reliably use down pogos for movement or attacking, which severely limits my mobility, and I say it best here. This is gonna change the playstyle by a ton. But no matter, I'm up for the challenge. So after awkwardly bashing this gate down, we head down into Dirtmouth to determine my fate. Now when I stop at the bench here, I'm gonna make my rolls, determine my health and the bosses I must kill, so I'll probably pop it up right about now. For the bosses we must hunt down, I rolled Crystal Guardian, Galleon, Hollow Knight, Brooding Moloch, and finally No Eyes, a diverse set of bosses found all across the kingdom. And now for the health wheel. Honestly, I'm hoping for probably 7 and higher. And we get... oh! Exactly 7. 7 sounds doable. So with me getting exactly what I asked for, we head down into the Forgotten Crossroads. As we make our way to the Ancestral Mound, I form my strategy. Basically, the goal is to get as strong as possible, as soon as possible, meaning I'm beelining towards skills and upgrades. And the first one on the list, Vengeful Spirit. But blocking my way there is the False Knight, or I get a Rude Awakening. Oh god. I have to cycle attacks. Ah, that was bad by me. Oh god, this is gonna be way harder. Even False Knight is taking a long time. Heading into this challenge, I knew bosses were going to pose more of a threat, but I hadn't realized just how disruptive it would be. Not only do I have to multitask dodging and cycling attacks, but every time the boss moves, I'll have to adjust what arrow I'm cycling towards. What usually is a fight that I can do in my sleep turned into an awkward, fumbling mess. But my saving grace is the fact that we can eventually break this gate and escape this fight, delaying it so we can come back later when we're stronger. However, we won't be getting this luxury for any other bosses, so if I want a fighting chance to beat this challenge, I'll have to get used to this new playstyle. Yeah, if we're gonna beat the False Knight, which I plan on doing since I need to enter the City of Tears somehow, I can't do the skip into Blue Lake since it's gonna take one of my health away, and I only have 7 HP to work with. I'd rather not waste my health on something like a skip. Luckily for us, this nice fellow grants us the Fireball ability, and to pay for it, all we have to do is some pest control. After killing the Balder with said Fireball and picking up the Soul Catcher charm, we are free to leave and continue onwards. Due to my abysmal performance fighting the False Knight, instead of risking one of our 7 lives, instead, I set out to free the 5 grubs in the Crossroads, as that gets us a Mass Shard and allows me to get more familiar with our new playstyle. Most of the grubs were simple to free, except for a few. For this guy, normally we need to use the dash ability we get later to free him, but we can get creative. By luring this Vengefly over, we can use it to damage tank, then pogo off of, which gets us enough distance to reach the ledge. It only took like half a dozen tries. Then in this room, I had to fight this big guy to get the grub behind him. And finally, I got pretty lucky freeing this grub in the pogo room. This is supposed to teach us about pogoing, but it's gonna be real hard to pogo when I can't pogo properly. Maybe if I'm lucky, I can cycle to where I get 3 pogos, down pogos in a row, but that's gonna be really unlikely. Oh, that was fairly quickly. Oh, I am so lucky. Wow, what are the chances of 3 in a row? Although I didn't realize at the time, each of the grubs I freed helped me develop certain skills. The first one helped me develop my control over my movements and timing my pogo. The second one helped simulate a fight where I had to cycle while dodging attacks. And the final one helped me practice my raw speed when it came to cycling through the arrows. With the basics now covered, I set out to kill the False Knight. This time was much better. I was cycling through attacks much faster, utilizing up and down slashes to deal damage, and strategically used fireballs to increase my DPS. But still, there were a few hiccups here and there. Oh, come on. Eventually, our tenacity paid off and the false knight went barreling through the ground. With that, we claimed the city crest and our cash reward. Next up, Green Path, where we'll challenge Hornet for the Mothwing Cloak, our dash ability. But I guess before we pop in to greet Hornet, we'll make a quick stop with the Grubfather to collect our goods. And that's, yup, first shard. With that, we blast this Balder down and enter Green Path. Another thing I should note is movement is going to be my best friend for this challenge, since I can't say the same about my attacking situation. So I'll probably have to focus much more on evasion rather than attack. But even without full mobility, we'll still make full use of every skill we have. See if we can get at least two fireballs, right fireballs in a row. Okay, there we go. Oh, that took... I think it'd be faster to do the squid strat, rather than whatever that was. After blasting several Moss Knights and this King Vengefly for some target practice, I steeled my nerves to confront Hornet. And I guess we'll fight Hornet now? Oh god, this is gonna be rough. Even with my victory over the False Knight, Hornet is a different type of beast. She's quick and agile, which will definitely challenge my cycling skills. And I wasn't off to the best start. Oh, okay, she juked me out with that one. Wow, okay. Things were going really well. The problem with Hornet is the fact that she jumps and dashes all around the arena. Normally she would be a cycling nightmare, but thanks to the Vengeful Spirit, we can afford to be patient and wait until she matches our arrows, then blast her into oblivion. Bop, bop. Triple spell. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. Why did I do that? Goodness. That was a lot more chaotic than I'd like to admit. With the dash acquired, I briefly considered heading over to fight No Eyes in order to cross her off the list, before remembering that we kind of need the lantern, which shut that idea down real quick. But we'll be back. Instead, we make our way into the fungal waste to get the Mantis Claw, which thankfully was a simple affair, for the most part. Twice in a row. After those hijinks, we eventually find ourselves in the Mantis Village, and we're able to grab the claws. Finally, we're getting the Mantis Claws, which will make traversing everywhere much easier since I don't have to solely rely on down pogoing, which is inconsistent at best. Here, I also considered fighting the Mantis Lords because it would grant us the Mark of Pride charm and more cash. Forgot that this idiot does that. Before deciding that risking one of our lives when we still had bosses like Galleon and the Hollow Knight to face wasn't that smart. So instead we head deeper into the waste to get the Dash Master charm and rescue Bretta since she can provide us with another mask in the future. Additionally, we can parkour across these spikes to the City of Tears gate and opened it with the city crest received from the False Knight. But we're not yet strong enough to survive the horrors of the Soul Sanctum, so we'll return later. However, to bridge the gap in strength, we can enter this arena to fight the Shroomel Ogres, who will grant us a charm notch if we win. The tricky thing about these guys is that we have to fight both of the guys at once, and due to their thick heads, down pogos deal no damage. To make it a little easier on ourselves, we can make quick work of this first guy by blasting him with a bunch of fireballs. But of course, it can't be that easy, as the knight now decides it's the best time to give me a bunch of down slashes. 3 down in a row? What is this, man? Come on, do your spit. Ah, oh, thank gosh. Now give me this. With that completed, we further our conquest for strength by collecting a bunch of mass shards. One in the Queen Station after parkouring over a bunch of thorns, and another one back in Dirtmouth after stealing it from Bretta's house. One more shard and we would increase our HP. To get that last shard, we head down once again and delicately killed the Gruzmother to gain access to Saluba's shop, where I bought both the Shaman Stone, which dramatically strengthens our spells, as well as Steady Body, which I got thinking we could purchase another notch. But no, we need one more charm. Damn it, Saluba, just take my money. But if you won't take our money, Sly definitely will. We're 1 mask away from 6 HP. Normally, that's just a nice bonus, but here we have a limit on our lives, so an extra mask could be the difference between a narrow escape or death. So we wake up Sly, then sprint back to Dirtmouth, ignoring everything in our way to buy the 4th mass shard. 6 HP acquired, and little do I know how important this would be. Anyways, with that, we are now strong enough to fight our way through the Soul Sanctum. But as an extra precaution, after entering the City of Tears, I first get a nail upgrade which should make traversing the Sanctum just a tad easier. So with that, we cross the threshold into danger. Really, our only objective here is to get the Desolate Dive, then GTFO. But in our way stands, or more accurately, floats these wizard bugs. These guys suck because they teleport a lot, and that means we constantly have to cycle arrows, which is both time consuming and infuriating. Oh my god, bro. These guys suck. Holy. How about you come down here and No! You piece of garbage. I don't want to bore you with the details, so just know by the time I got past all these flying freaks, I was ready to bash my head in. But I held off since we have to bash the Soul Master's head in first. One hit every like 10 seconds. That's what this fight was. I cycle to a right arrow, he teleports left. I cycle to a left arrow, now he's dashing across the arena. Down arrows are practically useless. It was very demanding to play as it's just constant cycling to try to get even one hit in. With only 6 HP, the longer this fight goes, the more likely he'll outlast me since we also have to deal with this second phase. Wow. I don't know how long that took. It probably took like 3 or 4 minutes. This fight is not that hard. It shouldn't be that hard. Okay, now I need 6 fireballs to kill him. Surprisingly though, his second phase was much quicker as after he smashes the ground a few times, he finally stands still and we can get a bunch of hits in. That was much faster than the other phase. Okay, I'm just happy to be done here in the Sanctum. No more. Finally. Oh my god. I don't want to be here no more. It seems that vocalizing this wish wasn't the smartest play, as the Sanctum had one more trick up its sleeve that caught me by surprise. Stuck in this room full of corpses, these flying ghosts completely swarmed me, and without any right arrows, I just got pummeled. I tried to escape by wall jumping, but couldn't find any purchase, which puts me on the back foot. Trying to scramble away, I frantically try cycling my attacks while getting pummeled until I have 1 mask left. But with 3 right arrows, I can finally clear the last pursuer and get a moment to heal up. I won't lie, that got my heart rate spiking, and I didn't want to take any more chances, so I booked it out. Screw this place. And also, I told you that extra mask would pay off. On a positive note though, I got to sell a bunch of relics I've been accumulating to Lem, which totaled over 3,000 geo. Then I blew all of it in one shopping spree in Sly Shop. Less amazing, but necessary, since among the purchases, I got the lantern, which allows me to enter the Crystal Peaks and the Stone Sanctuary, so I can finally reach No Eyes. I chose the Crystal route first though. Entering the Crystal Peaks, we have several items on the docket. Number 1, get the Crystal Dash. 2, get the Elegant Key. 3, upgrade our Desolate Dive, and only then can we kill the Crystal Guardian to cross our first boss off the list. The first 2 were a breeze. Thanks to all the time I've spent speedrunning the game, I know this path like the back of my void-stained hands. Do vessels have hands? Once we got the key and obtained the Crystal Dash, for some odd reason, I got it in my head that we could get the Paylor located at the top of Halnest's Peak. But no, me stupid. There's laser shooting bugs, too many cramped spaces, crystal spitters that have aimbot. No shot you did that. And so many close calls. But despite the odds stacked against us, we continue to ascend and somehow get to the last obstacle before the top. What is that? That's some bullcrap right there, buddy. Why is he trapping the entire lane? What? Nah, I refuse. I refuse. This is not how this ends. What? Where did that come from? Where did that... No shot. Oh my goodness. My first death and it came from one of those stupid... To say that I was annoyed would be an understatement, but that's what I deserve for overextending. My luck was bound to run out eventually. The real problem is that we still have the 3 Dreamer Seals to break, a bunch more upgrades to get, and haven't even touched the 5 bosses we must kill, and now I'm a life down. My odds of completing this challenge just got worse. But we're not out quite yet. We make the entire trek back, extra careful since our soul reserves are reduced. Die. Booyah. Screw you, buddy. Nobody likes you. That's why you're alone in this cave. No family, no friends. You deserve to die alone. I make sure to kill every enemy in our way, which sadly came around to bite me in the back. You missed, and now you're dead, idiot. Nobody likes ya. Oh, I needed him. I forgot I needed him for my stupid pogo. I knew I was forgetting something. Anyways, yeah, let's get back on track. Yeah, crap, man. Crystal Guardian. That's who we need to kill. I'm finally gonna get this first boss off the list. Making our way down, I was expecting an easy fight. Then I did this in the first 2 seconds. Oh, wow. The Crystal Guardian is like a mix between Hornet's movements and the Soul Master's long-range attacks. If you take your time, cycle properly, and use dashes and wall jumps, this fight is easy. But, as you can see, I can't do any of that, apparently. Crap, this fight has gone from easy to concerning in like 2 seconds. Oh, gosh. 1 HP, but at least we can cross off the Crystal Guardian off the list. Boom, that's 1 down. 4 left to go. And while I'm here, I can get the Descending Dark. I forgot about that. Yeah, probably should have done that before the fight. We definitely need the Descending Dark, as the invincibility frames it grants is a must-have for bosses like the Watcher Knights and Hollow Knight. The only problem, it's guarded by my nemesis and this stone wall of a bug. Can we... Oh my god, what is wrong with me? Get out of my way, idiot. Just, I don't even care. Just give me this. Descending Dark, yippee. Of course, after I finally have the Descending Dark, I pull a classic pausable move and screw myself over. You know what? Instead of going down the Crystal Peaks, screw this. I'm going down to the Resting Grounds. This is not the Resting Grounds. I'm an idiot. Without the you shall not pass bug here, I made it out safely and found the right hole this time. That sounds weird when I say it like that. I'm in the Resting Grounds now. That's what I'm trying to say. Here we can get the Dream Nail, which is needed to break the Dreamer Seals to access the Hollow Knight. And also a time check. It's been 2 hours and 21 minutes. I'm gonna go insane. Yeah, I need to hurry this along or else we'll be here all day. So, speed round, go! I did some dream parkour to get the Dream Nail, stacked back to Dirtmouth to return Sly's key, and bought the Elegant Key, bought a Charm Notch from Salubra, used this elevator to get down and into the city again, killed the Golden Husk for money, entered the Soul Sanctum again, and used the key to open this door, and somehow fumbled this fight. This was supposed to be simple. This was supposed to be a simple in and out job. Came back and locked in, finally dead. Finally acquired the Soul Shade, and before leaving the city, I fought a gauntlet of sentries and had to clutch up. Please be done. Thank you. Holy crap. I don't know why I do this to myself. It's not fun being so bad at this game, man. Much like Mass Shards, Vessels are another incredibly important upgrade as it increases the amount of soul we can carry. During fights, that can grant us an extra heal or spell that can get us out of a sticky situation. Luckily, Sly here has the last shard we need to complete the set, which grants us this luxury. With all those upgrades acquired, it's about time we cross off more bosses from the list, starting with the Brooding Moloch, who lasted a grand total of 45 seconds before we landed the finishing blow. Easiest fight of the run. A nice break, but bosses like Galleon and No Eyes won't go down that easy. 2 out of 5 bosses down. And speaking of No Eyes, she's up next in Green Path. Since we now have the lantern, we can traverse through the dark and into the Stone Sanctuary. Also, I didn't know until now, you don't even have to fight No Eyes to get the Mass Shard. You can literally just up and grab it. Anywho, that tops us off at 7 HP, which was a smart move since challenging No Eyes proved to be way more difficult than I thought. Although I should have predicted that with her constant teleporting. Remind you of anybody? Can you die already? Holy crap, you and your singing. There's so many things on screen. Good lord. She just keeps teleporting everywhere. Holy crap. Why does everything I do have to be that close? Third boss off the list. And for our trouble, we also get 200 essence, which reminded me that the Seer, the old lady moth that gives us the Dream Nail, actually gives rewards at certain essence thresholds. Just something to keep in mind. And since we're already here in Green Path, I decided to do more exploration, which led me to this acid parkour section. If I could get like 3 downs in a row, that'd be nice. That's 3 ups in a row. 3 lefts in a row. There it is. Just gotta make this count. Come on. Yeah, buddy. And what did that get me? There we go. Another vessel. Deeper in, we can also do another parkour section through all these thorns. The only problem being, after dashing through the first couple of sections, we need to do a bunch of down pogos on these armored dudes. But utilizing all of our abilities, we can bypass most of the pogoing. Booyah. Now that we're through, we enter this hut and learn the Great Slash from Nailmaster Shio, and we immediately make use of it by staggering to the resting grounds and challenging Zero for more essence. And thanks to our spells, he turned out to be a really simple fight. With Zero down, we head to the Seer for our rewards. For 300 essence, she grants us a Hallownest seal, she opens up the Spirit's Glade, and gives me a Pale Ore. Just what I was looking for. One more Pale Ore and we'll be able to upgrade our nail to deal even more damage, which will help a ton since the next bosses we have to face off against could steamroll us if we aren't prepared. And to help us pay for that pricey upgrade, in the Spirit's Glade we can head into this waterfall to access a secret room. I believe according to the lore, the Moth tribe left the Radiance to worship the Pale King, which ultimately didn't go well for them. Or anyone in this situation, really. Basically everyone is dead or infected, except for the Mantises. They're chillin'. Lore aside, there's only a few more upgrades we need before we're ready to start knocking out the Dreamers and the last 2 bosses on the list. That being 2 nail upgrades, another vessel, Howling Wraiths, and most importantly, the Monarch Wings. We especially want the double jump as not only will allow us to get the other upgrades quicker, especially in a certain place, but the added height it grants can also help us dodge attacks we normally couldn't, which can allow extra time for cycling so the arrow RNG doesn't totally screw us over. So we sell all the relics we have, which puts us at just under 3,000 geo. Then we get nail upgrade number 1. Next up, Monarch Wings. All we have to do for that is to scale down this elevator shaft, avoid these sentries, and down the hatch we go. We're in the Ancient Basin. Here we find this fountain, which I do remember gives us another vessel fragment if we drop enough money into it. Problem is, I couldn't remember how much we needed, and it took every single piece of geo I had. So now I can't afford this bench before fighting the broken vessel. But you know what? I won't die. I will not die. After avoiding these spitting wall things, we eventually make it to the arena and face off against the broken vessel. This is basically just a repeat of the Soul Warrior fight guarding the Shade Soul. I mean, both bosses do the same dash attack, downward dash, they shoot projectiles, and random ghosts spawn throughout the entire fight. But the reward is enormous because right after, we can get the Monarch Wings, our double jump. This fight is pivotal to win. Oh wow, Shade Soul makes things really easy, huh? With that, I was free to grab the Monarch Wings. Give me this. I got a double jump. I got a double jump. Double jump. We can cross that off the list. Oh yeah, I have a double jump now. Oh, what? One of them's too fat. Ha! Fatty! Lose some weight! Look at you! Can't fit in this tiny little hole, huh? Loser! While I was here, I was also able to grab another Pale Ore, which is perfect as now that we have the double jump, getting the other Pale Ore in Hallownest Peak should be a breeze. To get there, I once again spent all my geo to open the stag and rode back to the crossroads before heading back to the peaks. Hopefully this time I don't die. Indeed, this time I only nearly died, thanks to, you guessed it, the Crystal Spitter. Let's reset, huh? Let's reset. God, I should have gotten Howling Wraiths. All in due time. But let's speed this up because we get another ton of upgrades in a really short span. We finally get the last Pale Ore we need and head down to the Grubfather to collect what he owes us. Then sell the remaining relics to Lem to put us just under 3,000 geo. After that, we blow nearly all of it on the nail upgrade. The remaining goes to the fountain for our second last vessel fragment, then we trek to the literal opposite side of the map to the Stag's Nest, which gets us our second vessel. It is done. We have every upgrade we need, and now it's time to knock out all the Dreamers and bosses. Starting with Monomon. All we have to do is perform a C-dash across this acid pool. Holy first try. I'm just too good. Then we head to the Teacher's Archives. But instead of heading in, we'll head past it since the Howling Wraith spell is like 2 rooms over and will help immensely with the Umu fight. Okie doke, overgrown mound. And getting it was a breeze since we can one-shot these mosquitoes. Finally, we have the Howling Wraiths, and we can go for our first Dreamer. While you'd think Umu would be a hard boss in this mod, it is the literal opposite, as we have time to wait for Quirrell to weaken her before attacking, which means we don't have to worry about cycling and dodging at the same time. And in just 3 easy cycles, Umu falls. Meow. The first seal is now broken. 1 down, 2 to go. But up next is Galleon in Deep Nest, and flying/teleporting enemies have been my kryptonite throughout this entire run. This will be a tough fight. Not to mention we arrive with only 6 HP and no soul. While Galleon doesn't have as much health as some of the other bosses, he makes up for it with his relentless scythe attack. If we want to win this fight, we're going to need a lot of up arrows and howling wraiths. As the fight goes on, he adds more projectiles that further limit our mobility. In addition, jumping is basically a death sentence with his scythe flying around. We have to stay on the ground. But even so, he continues to whittle me down. It probably doesn't help that the arrow RNG is giving me anything but up arrows, which means less hits, less soul, less spells, and barely any chances to heal. This perfect storm eventually accumulates to this moment. I think that's how we're gonna do. Oh, crap. Damn it. Ah, third death to Galleon. Gosh dang it. Oh, I'm back away here. Ah, crap. That's one more life gone. 4 lives remaining, and we still have 2 dreamers and 2 bosses to get to. If I'm going to win, I'll have to play smarter and lock in, because if I can't beat Galleon, there's no way I'll be able to beat the Hollow Knight. So this time we arrive prepared, full HP and an abundance of soul. Still, I have moments of struggle. Okay, or I could just hit myself twice. Let's hit myself twice because that will be funny for the video. But we stay patient throughout the fight, cycle as the scythe flies overhead, and time some howling wraiths for maximum damage. Should kill him with these 2. Crap. I was mistaken. There we go. Now that Galleon's off the list, we make it to the distant village without a hitch. We're approaching the second seal. Instead of sitting on this trap bench, since we have the wall jump and double jump, we can skip most of the beasts then by entering through this secret entrance, which is nice. I don't want to risk any more of my lives. 1, 2, 3, 1, up, down, right, down, left. Comboed. With Hera's seal eviscerated. Last thing is Lurien in his Watcher's Spire, and then the Hollow Knight. Spending the last of our money, we can open this final stag and make it to the King's Station. The last thing standing on our way before we can access the Hollow Knight is the Watcher Knights who guards Lurien's seal. If we want a fighting chance to beat this challenge, we cannot die here. After climbing several floors, we arrive at the arena. But as always, cut the chandelier for one less enemy, then we start the fight. The Watcher Knights can easily lead to our 4th death if we're not careful. They have a nasty habit of tag teaming when you're least expecting. I didn't see where that was coming from, honestly. However, Descending Dark should really help out a ton with the invincibility frames it grants. Despite my best efforts to stay calm and collected, their non-stop barrage of rolling and bouncing attacks gets me low, very low. Why'd I do that? We heal, they hit. We heal again, they hit us again. But we don't give up. Narrowly dodging this rolling attack, I lure both knights to the side, and when they attack, we execute a perfectly timed Descending Dark that demolishes both knights at the same time. Watcher Knights down, and no life lost. With Lurien's seal broken, we can now make it to the Black Egg Temple to face the Hollow Knight. With 4 lives remaining, we have a decent safety net if things go wrong. But still, the Hollow Knight is incredibly tanky, so we'll have to use everything we learned throughout this run if we're going to win. So we break down each chain and start the fight. The Hollow Knight's attacks seem to take advantage of our sparse attacks as he rapidly dashes across the arena, sends a barrage of sword slashes, and attempts to parry my attacks. The worst part? It's working. He is relentless, which makes it hard to predict what arrow we'll need next. Dodged it. Smart dude. We managed to get a few Descending Dark spells off for more DPS, but he corners us and knocks us down to 2 HP. We desperately need to stagger him, otherwise this will lead to a death. Luckily, we barely managed to sneak a hit in, which gives us our break. Okay, give me 2, give me 2, give me 2, give me 2. Nice. We're back in the game. There continues to be many near misses, but with one more Descending Dark, we get him to the second phase. Here is where things really ramp up as he gets new attacks, many of which put us on the defensive, like his bouncing attack, and when he spews infection everywhere. What am I supposed to do with up, man? As the fight continues, he keeps up the pressure, which leads to some bad decisions on my part. That was unnecessary by me. Really? That's what we're gonna do now? But the more we attack, the weaker and slower he gets, which enables us to pummel him with more and more Descending Darks. And eventually, with one final upslash, the Hollow Knight falls and we claim victory. We're done. We're happy. Happy, happy, happy. Oh my god, my wrists, my elbows, they're so stiff. 3 deaths, 5 hours, and the challenge is complete. It seems my time playing Hollow Knight wasn't all for naught. I have some skill in these arthritis bones. Do the things, like and sub, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!